In this video, it's Christmas Eve and I'm going to service the Skoda. Let's get started. Right, stage one is to get the oil draining. That would look like the sump there. Oh dear. Is it waxy under here or is that just the rust treatment? I think that might be the rust treatment. Making it all look damp. But yeah, definitely worth doing. Right, 21s do we reckon? Let's go and have a look. Let's see if that was a good hunch. Oh, yeah. I should have got the front end on ramps. That might have made life easier, although then that affects the drain angle. I'm not sure that is a 21, how annoying. Right, that's the oil draining out. With only minor spillage, that's quite good by my standards. So while that's happening, I'm going to start the 2CV's work. Fortunately, my Perflux spanner fits the filter perfectly, so that's good. I think I'm going to put the sump plug in first though, so I can use my catch can to catch as much oil as possible. Right, old filter's off, new one is ready to go on. I've lubricated the seal with fresh oil, because if you don't do that, it really is an absolute sod to get them off again. Just screw that on. Naturally, oil has spilled all over the tray at the bottom, so I'll wipe that up in a moment. There we go, we've done the filter up by hand. You don't ever do a filter up with a tool, that's a recipe for disaster. And just use this lovely brown towel to clean the filter and the mess at the bottom. Well, given that panel's metal, a bit of old engine oil probably isn't all that bad for it. Right, I think we're going to pour fresh oil in now. I've got some Hyperlube semi-synthetic 1040 from a local Factors, ideal for petrol and diesel engines. So hopefully that'll be good for this application. That looks like a potential for mess. I'm going to find a funnel. There we go. Hopefully that will be more successful. You are literally watching a man pouring oil into an engine. You haven't even got a very good angle, sorry. Let's see if we're registering on the dipstick yet. Yes, I believe we are. One reason for getting the car into the garage isn't so much in case it rains, because today should actually stay dry, I reckon. It's more so I've got a nice level playing field. Dipstick hole is a sod to find. It's right down the back of the engine. It's basically in the top of the sump. Yeah, we haven't reached that yet. That's the bad thing about these lights, batteries don't last forever. Well, my Haynes manual tells me the oil capacity is 4 litres, and so far I've only put in about 3 and a bit. So actually that's not even 3, is it? That's 2 and a bit. So we'll continue glugging. And with the oil at level, we now start the engine just to get it circulating, because the oil filter will need filling up. There'll be lots of empty places. That just light has gone out, that's good. And then we'll wait for that to settle again and recheck the level. I'm not going to put my light on charge because it's not much use if it doesn't work. Right, so the oil change has been done. The next jobs are, I want to do the valve clearances, so I'll have to get the rock cover off and have a peek about under here. Interesting use of sealant there. Hope that'll hold. It looks like the rock cover's only held on with these 2 little nuts. Might have to get rid of that hose. Want to change the air filter, want to change the distributor cap and the rotor arm, which we'll get into in a moment, and yeah, spark plugs and spark plug wires, or leads indeed. Hopefully we've got the right set for that. I've occasionally seen a spark down here between the distributor cap, which is where those leads are coming out, and the engine itself, and every now and then there's a bit of a misfire, so hopefully a new cap and leads will sort that out, because you don't want your electricity escaping, because then you get a misfire, then you're down on power, and you're poisoning your catalytic converter, so that's definitely not a good thing. Right, I've now got the engine, the rocker cover off, so we can see the rockers themselves. So these are the valves with their springs and collets, and these spindly little things are the rocker arms. They seem quite tiny, but nonetheless they seem to do their job. So that's the rocker shaft, and down below, driven by chain, is the camshaft with push rods that come up here. So this is where we can adjust the gap, and I think some are loose and some are tight is my gut feeling. I'm not quite sure how you go about turning the engine. Normally on the 2CV or the Invicar you can rotate it easily enough on the crankshaft pulley, but access to that seems a little on the tight side. I don't know if there's a hole in the inner wing, so what I might do is just put her in a tall gear, 5th or 4th, and then moving the car backwards and forwards, just pushing, should open up the rockers. I've got to consult the Haynes manual to see when you measure it, because usually one valve is down, so you measure somewhere else, and there's rules of 9 and all that sort of stuff, but I don't know if that applies to this. It's a long time since I've done valve clearances on an overhead valve 4-cylinder engine. It might even be all the way back to my first car, which was a Mark II Fiesta. I do remember doing the valve clearances on that. I was probably trying to extract more power from it. Didn't work. Nonetheless, we shall set to. Well, that's nice and easy. 0.2 mil is the gap, so we'll make sure that's nice and clean. Let's get those there in advance. So this is what the Haynes manual reckons, and I hope they don't mind me sharing this fact. But valve number 8's open, you check 1, 6 check 3, 4 check 5, etc, etc. It just says turn the engine, but I think my best bet is going to be doing it in gear. So I'm going to go and see if that works. We want to start by getting valve number 8 open, and I think they're numbered from the left. That's the usual way. Renaults are sometimes different. Renaults, just for a laugh, will have number 1 at gearbox end. Ha ha! Funny French. Yeah, I've got 7 open at the moment, but we want 8 open. So I'm going to put the car in gear and start pulling it forward. I might push back for a bit of clearance first. Right, so the car is now in gear, so if I start pulling it, the valves should start moving. That doesn't feel very in gear to me. I think we'll have to try that again. Right, with the car in gear, the valves should start moving. Oh, maybe we'll try 5th. 4th doesn't want to play ball. Up we go, across into 5th. I might need to take the spark plugs out to get rid of the compression. Oh, there we go. That's working. But I want number 8 down, which is this one. There we go. That is number 8 down. Make sure it's all the way down. Might be easier with 2 hands, to be honest. I think I might whip the spark plugs out, because then I'm not fighting compression. Well, that's the plugs out, and they all look, yeah, in need of replacement. I don't think this car's been serviced since October 2017, and I know the chap I bought it off reckons he'd done about 3,000 miles in it, so plus whatever the previous owner had done. I think he bought it over the summer and then took it up to Scotland and down to Cornwall, so this car's been fairly well travelled, but all those plugs look fairly healthy. They just look fairly well worn. But that's okay because we have new ones to fit. But first, tea. So we've got valve 8 is open at the moment, so valve 1 needs checking. And there's this little device here which I think is designed to help stop the oil just going straight on when you fill up. That's directly below the filler. But I think I can get in from the back and check the clearances. Oh blimey, I can't even get the feeler gauge in. So yeah, that is definitely too tight. So now we'll undo the lock nut, which allows us to turn a screwdriver on the adjuster. As soon as I can find a screwdriver, that is. Interesting that the lock nuts are 11mm. 11mm is usually 2CV only. I'm quite used to that. Let's see if we can get that in now. Oh no, I haven't adjusted that only under the lock nut. That's too big. Let's think about this. Which way should that be going? Not that way. Oh, there we go. And then we got our nice sliding fit. So now we need to do the lock nut. Oh, I'm very adjusting that. Let's see. Oh, that's too loose. Often need a few goes at these. This one, this big nut is right in the way, which is a little annoying. Let's see if we can do a better job second time round. Now that's too tight. Where's that? A nice slide. Yeah, there we go. There's just some resistance, but it slides through well enough. So now we go back to our rule of 9, and the rule of 9 being that we've opened 8 to adjust 1, and we'll just refer to the manual. But the manual tells you which one's going to open next, so you don't have to keep on going around all of them. So now we need to rotate the engine until valve 6. 2, 4, 6. Well, 6 is looking pretty open, but let's just pull it back, or pull it forward even. There we go. With 6 now down, let's play the rule of 9. That means we do number 3. Number 3 is this one here. And again, I can't get the feeler gauge in. These are all very slightly too tight. There's not much in it, but there's enough in it. Right, so we've now been through all of them. I've gone through again just to double check. They're all now much more loose. So we'll get the rocker cover on, see if it's made any difference to the noise. It's always worth just doing a visual inspection just to check the thread lengths are the same and the electrodes aren't sticking out more, because you don't want to knacker up your engine by putting the wrong plugs in. We're replacing some NGKs with some Bosch R6s. I might even go crazy as I've got the feeler gauge out and check the gap. How posh is that? Engineering! So the Haynes manual reckons a gap of 0.7. These are a bit more generous than that. Yeah, there's some wiggle on that. So a quick walk over here, quick tap on the bench, and that is now a nice sliding 0.7. Job's a good one. Just in case I didn't mention it, every gap on the valve clearances was tight apart from 7, which was loose. So it'd be interesting to see if it makes any difference to how it sounds. Parfait! Always start the plugs by hand, and then once I'm confident that's working correctly, only then do I put the socket on, but even then I only do it by hand. There we go. Because if you cross plug, if you cross-thread your spark plugs so they don't go in straight, and you end up knackering up the thread. It's a bit of a ball ache. If you're lucky, you might be able to drill it out and helicoil it. Other thread tools are available, but yeah, chances are you really got to get the cylinder head off and send it to a machine shop to sort out your mess. So don't ever do that. Right, what do I need? A tightening stick. Right, let's see how she sounds. Well, that's good. That's not sounding too tappy. I was a bit worried. You open the gaps up, it'll start sounding really rattly. Beautiful. Before we fill the house with fumes, we'll call that done. So now I need to change the distributor cap, rotor arm, and the leads. And yeah, you don't want to pull all the leads off because then you lose your order. So I'm going to replace the leads one at a time. Have my new Unipart cap. In fact, I can probably transfer the leads to the new cap. That'll probably be fine. Oh, a bit dusty in there. So if I hold the cap where it's got to go, I can match the lead pattern and get it right that way. Yeah, that's been on the shelf a while, I'd say. Might just give that a wipe out first. Well, the plug leads do appear different with these metal collars on. So I am trusting that Euro Car Parts have actually sent me the right parts. But yeah, we'll get them fitted and see if that works. No, these leads are nothing like correct. Euro Car Parts strikes again. I really must stop using them. I just can't get orders right. They are hopeless. So we'll have to stick with the old leads and transfer them to the new cap. So I shall do that. So this is the old cap, and you can see how filthy it's got. A right state. And inside isn't looking all that splendid either. Quite mucky in there. The posts don't seem too worn, but there's a lot of dust in there, so I think I'm glad to have a replacement. Let's see if the rotor arm will come off. Oh, gosh. Yeah, rotor arm has seen better days as well. That's not a very good edge on it, not very keen. Let's see if the replacement for that is at least right. It was only the plug leads I ordered from Euro Car Parts. That looks okay, I think. Actually, it's quite filthy in there. I'm going to clean up in there first. Okay, I've just been checking the manual. Fuel filter is something I haven't got. I should have ordered one up, but it's a sod of a job anyway because it's under the back of the car, and the exhaust system is in the way basically, and there's a heat shield, and it sounds like a right faff. That job may be getting farmed out to my local garage. Ignition timing, it says you can't adjust it on the fuel injection models. This is a fuel injection model. I'm guessing the distributor only does part of the ignition timing, and it's mostly controlled. There's probably a crank sensor and it goes through the ECU. That's my guess. I can't pretend to be an expert in fuel injection. I can't pretend to be an expert in anything, let's be honest. There is meant to be a point where you can lubricate the distributor, but I can't easily get to that, so that's not going to happen. So I think we're on to start the engine, make sure it runs. Now we've got the new rotor arm and cap fitted. Let's give it a go. Goodbye Haynes manual. Oh, the other job I've done, I have had the coolant changed by my local garage. Again, I didn't want to drop it here. George might find it too interesting, and antifreeze is very bad for cats. Lovely. I'll just drive her outside and we'll do a check for oil leaks before going for a test drive. All looks good, rocker cover's not leaking. No sparking going on where there shouldn't be sparking. Also, one thing about the waxing, it does create a bit of a sticky spot, so I'm finding muck is sticking where it probably wouldn't before. Maybe that's alright, we'll see. Just have a nose underneath, make sure there's no droppage. No, all looks nice and dry under there. Lovely. Let's go for a test drive then, the best part of any servicing. So we'll head out and see if it's made any difference at all to how she drives. I'm not expecting miracles, the valve clearances didn't need that much opening up. We shall see. Well yes, I don't think any miracles have occurred, but she's certainly driving alright. You really can hear the valve gear chattering away. I hope that isn't timing chain, but that is a weakness on these engines. There is no tensioner on the timing chain. So I have to keep an eye on that. Well, my odometer briefly tried working and has already given up. That's another job to try and sort out. I don't hold out all that much hope for the clutch in this car. I don't think it's in great shape. Appear to be paw prints on the bonnet. I've got words with that George. Yeah, I can say opening the valve clearances up has made no difference at all to this engine, I don't think. But it should help it last longer, because if the valve clearances are too tight, you end up stressing the cylinder head, because the valves get too hot. Well, maybe she does feel a bit better actually. That's good, because this car will soon be driving all the way to Sussex and Devon, so just feel more confident now. So you can rev it. Doesn't sound very nice really. It doesn't really feel like it's going any faster than when you're not revving it. The speedometer, not the speedometer, the rev counter has a green section between 2,500 and 3,500 revs, and really that is where you want to keep it, not just for economy but also for noise. Still slightly concerned that the fan isn't cutting in. So that's a temperature reading on the switch itself, which I think should click in at 93 degrees. So it's pretty close. So yeah, the radiator itself is I mean, obviously that's designed to throw off heat, but that's getting quite hot. I don't think that's working. I think I'm going to abort this test and put the heater on instead. Yeah, temperature gauge isn't really very helpful because it's there no matter what's going on. Oh no, it's going, look! Hurrah! Where did I put the temperature gauge? Oh, there we go. That's taken a good 10 or 6 to 10 degrees off the radiator temperature. That makes me feel better. I've proved it works. And there you go, the Skoda is happy again. We can now drive all the way to Sussex and Devon in it, and hopefully all will be well. Particularly pleased that the fan is definitely doing its thing. That's very reassuring. So I shall just say, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I shall see you in a future video. Farewell.